How about doing your state?
Let's find out. What you got?
Well, today I have an update video about the Idaho murder case. If you remember.
Recap.
Okay. If you remember, a few videos back, we talked about the infamous case of the Idaho murders. Bryan Kohberger had broke into the shared rental house of the victims across the street from the University of Idaho. There were two more roommates who had lived in the house who remained unharmed, but were awoken to the sounds of the murders that were about to take place. While this case is mainly in Idaho and Washington, it turned out that Bryan had lived in Pennsylvania and was caught in Pennsylvania and was just studying at Washington State University.
Okay.
So that's the recap.
I do remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had nothing really, seemingly, as far as I know, and from the last video, to do with these victims and the people who were left alive.
Yeah.
And just followed them home and did the deed.
We don't know if he followed them.
Right. That, I'm just saying from the last video, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Oakley dokley, I'm ready.
Over the weekend, new news articles came out spelling what Pennsylvania State Police had seized from the house of Bryan Kohberger. And this is just a bullet point. A flashlight, 4 medical-style gloves, an Arizona Gene Code t-shirt, a sweatshirt that said Washington State Cougars, a pair of size 13 shoes, Nike, a pair of black socks, Under Armour, black shorts, Under Armour, black boxers, Under Armour, and a cheek swab.
A cheek swab?
Yeah, they swabbed them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. The first 3 seem very suspicious.
Yeah.
But all the Under Armour stuff.
I know. The authorities say that they plan to release more search warrants on Wednesday, March 1st for Bryan's car and his home in Monroe County. With the release of the search warrant, authorities did not give an explanation to the significance of the items that they have seized, but we can only assume why they've seized these items. Also, they're all black.
What?
All of the pieces of clothing that they've seized.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
They're all black clothing.
It's pretty suspicious.
They have gloves and a flashlight. So they probably took them either because they had noticeable blood on them or that they were going to test them for DNA of some sort. It was also mentioned that Bryan had photos of some of the victims on his phone where experts debated that this was him stalking his victims. He had also allegedly sent Instagram DMs to one of the victims multiple times in October 2022, which would have been a month before the murders happened. And this is a quote from an article that I was reading. It said, quote, "He slid into one of the girl's DMs several times, but she didn't respond," the source told the outlet. Basically, it was him saying, "Hey, how are you?" But he did it again and again. End quote. So it's like a creepy guy.
Yeah. Ew.
It is said that it is not known if the victim saw the DM, as it would have gone into her message requests, and there was no indication that he was getting frustrated at the lack of response, but he was persistent in his messaging. And I mean, he probably was, even though, like, he wasn't outright like, "Oh, you're such a bitch, you're not responding to me." Which, that's what they meant by there was no indication, like, he wasn't saying it,
Nice
but
guy, right.
You could only assume that he was frustrated because of what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
But they just said that he didn't say anything that would indicate him being frustrated. Which doesn't mean anything. So
it's like a lot of silent Silent rage is the worst kind of rage because it just explodes in one moment.
Right. And it doesn't account for the fact that he maybe didn't know where they lived at first and figured it out.
Yeah.
Or figured out that they went to this college, which was really close to where he was studying. And then figured out where they lived from there, which is awful.
Yeah. That's crazy.
In the beginning, the connection between Bryan and the victims was very unclear because of the differences between them, and it was very hard to figure out if this was a planned attack on the victims or a random act of violence at a college rental home. As stated earlier, Bryan was studying at Washington State University, just a 15-minute drive from Moscow, Idaho, where the murders took place. Police searched his apartment that he lived in while studying, and they seized his bedding, strands of hair, and a single glove, but no weapon, from the apartment that he lived in when at Washington State.
Nothing.
Well,
the search glove and hair.
And his bedding.
Right.
But no weapon, they said.
Huh.
Which, I mean, if he was smart, he would have ditched it.
Yeah. I don't know. This just seems like a lot, to like, oh, this girl isn't talking to me. I'm gonna find out what she's doing right now. I'm gonna go kill her. Like,
well.
Why?
Unfortunately, that happens a lot.
But, grow up.
There have been news articles that I've came across saying that he's just kind of like a sad guy. And that he's kind of had like a sad life. So I guess he just never had the social skills. And that was his only way of doing it. And then a lot of cases that end up like this, and the guy just gets fed up with them not answering, they just murder them. It happens a lot in domestic violence cases where the victim tries to like distance themselves and then they end up getting murdered.
Right.
But that's in domestic violence cases. That's a little different because they already know each other. But in this case, it's a little off because they're almost polar opposites with the type of people that the victims were. And then this, I think he's like 28. Like, there was no obvious connection between them. They went to different colleges, as if he wasn't like 8 years older than all of them anyway.
It's obviously a mental health thing, because no sane person crosses state lines to kill somebody just because they got rejected, and then goes running back all the way across state to get caught by the police. I mean, all the way across country to get caught by police. I get you live there, but this all shouldn't have happened. Like, why?
He got pulled over twice on the way there. On the way to Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Unless he cleaned himself up. I mean, I'd imagine he'd be in some kind of disarray after killing somebody.
Well, he got pulled over twice on his way back on his way to Pennsylvania for the holiday. He got arrested after Christmas, so he was kind of there for like winter break.
Yeah, but like when they pulled him over, I'm saying like, unless he cleaned himself up, he'd be acting a little weird.
He was actually in the car with his dad. His dad was there.
Okay. He was still driving though?
Yeah, Bryan was driving, but his dad was in the passenger seat.
What was he pulled over for?
Speeding?
Erratic? Okay. Yeah, erratic driving.
Normal things, but he got pulled over twice, which is odd.
That's what I'm saying.
I think at that point they were already tracking him, and they just didn't say anything. I don't really know. He could have really been speeding both times. Just really unlucky guy. Got pulled over twice. But there was a video, like I was saying, with they got pulled over and the cop asked them where they were going, and the dad just blurted out, "Oh, we're going to Pennsylvania," or "We're going back home to Pennsylvania." You could see Bryan looks over at his dad and he goes,
"Thanks, Dad."
Yeah. So that's pretty funny. Bryan had waived his right to a fair and speedy trial in January and is expected to be in court in June. While we don't know how he's going to plead, through his former attorney earlier this year, he mentioned that he thinks he's going to be exonerated, which I don't think he will be. And I want to say it said former attorney. I read it last time as his actual attorney, which was only like a couple months ago. So I guess he fired that guy. Or the guy resigned.
Well, it's just like, there's no getting out of this, dude. I don't know what you want me to do, so then you get fired because you're like, I have no defense for you. There is no defense. You did it.
I don't really know. So I think he's sitting in jail.
Should be.
Because I really hope they didn't give him bail. I think he's sitting in jail still.
One can hope, you know.
Yeah.
Personally? No.
I saw an article saying that Bryan, if he gets found guilty, that if this Idaho governor, senator person gets his way, that he could die by firing squad.
Oh, really?
I didn't read into it that much because I think it was a TMZ article, and it's TMZ.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought that was funny.
The governor said that.
I don't know. It was some person of high authority in Idaho, because he's gonna be tried in Idaho.
Yeah, because it's where everything took place.
Yeah. So somebody who I don't want to say is in charge, but has the authority
High up
to.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess he wants firing squad back.
Wow. So you think there's gonna be obviously more updates when June comes around, but do you think anything before that? In this case, in particular.
I don't know. Probably not. The only reason why there was this update video is because the police had released the whole document of their search warrant on February 28th. They released it to the public.
Okay. So probably nothing more on this until June. When the trials
Yeah.
Because then we'll, at least when it's publicized, everybody will know like every gritty detail.
Yeah.
Okay.
And see if he'll actually,
Get his wish. Or die by firing squad, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think that there's any way that he's not going to be found guilty.
You fled after you killed people for no reason. Yeah, I mean, you just look super duper
Dumb. Stupid. But yeah, that's all I got. That's the update for now.
Like, subscribe, comment. What do you think about this? Firing squad or no firing squad? That's not good. Like, subscribe, comment. I don't know if you have an idea. Maybe we can do an idea that you have in your state. I'm disappearing.
No, you're not.